What it do, YouTubers? It is your friendly neighborhood Chippy back with episode 13 of this Zelda Link to the Past walkthrough and commentary here. As you can see, we are now in the Dark World, and I'm at a few items and heart pieces that you will need to be acquiring before entering this next castle here. I think there are a few things I get in this episode, but you'll see. And I will lead you to them. And it is Sunday, almost Sunday night. It's about 5 o'clock, maybe 5:30, and it is the start of the NFL season this year. And I have some scores and stuff for you from Thursday night and Sunday morning for all the morning games. And I'm going to give you a quick rundown of what all's went down if you didn't watch or haven't been updated quite yet. But Thursday night started the old kickoff of this NFL season, and it was a game between the Minnesota Vikings and the New Orleans Saints, where Minnesota puts up 9, and New Orleans ends up putting up 14 in a pretty defensive game, really, and a Pierre Thomas touchdown in the third quarter, which pretty much sealed the deal for New Orleans and gave them the 9-14 victory. Now for Sunday, I'm gonna start the rundown for the Sunday morning games, and I'm gonna start off with the Miami Dolphins against the Buffalo Bills, and with Ronnie Brown and his 13 carries for 65 yards and a touchdown, and also 2 receptions for 20 yards, pretty much puts the Dolphins over the Bills 15-10 in that game. Moving on to Detroit, the Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears, pretty much matchup of the uglies of last season, with Chicago pulling this one out really late, 19-14, when a Calvin Johnson touchdown got overruled in the last 30 seconds of this game. I personally think it's a touchdown, and it was ruled incomplete because he didn't come up with the ball in the end zone. It was noticeable he had control, and what I think is they missed a loophole in this is when CJ went down, his left hand touched out of bounds before the ball left his hand, and I think if he has control of it with both feet in, and then a hand touches out of bounds, that play is considered over, and it should be a complete pass because the ball is, once you're out of bounds, you're out of bounds. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a touchdown, and Detroit got kind of screwed on this game. And let's move on here. We got the Oakland Raiders against the Tennessee Titans. Everybody can probably imagine how this fantastic game went. Tennessee ended up pulling it out 38-13 with Chris Johnson beasting up his 27 carries for 142 yards and 2 touchdowns, which pretty much rolled all over the Oakland Raiders. All right, and one of the best games of the day, actually. It didn't start off being a good game, but it turned out to be a good one, with Cincinnati Bengals and the New England Patriots, with Cincinnati putting up 24 and New England putting up 38, with most of those being in the first half for the Patriots. And between that, Brady and Welker connecting for 2 touchdowns, it was just too much for the Bengals to handle. And then we got Carolina Panthers against the New York Giants, which Eli Manning is my quarterback for my fantasy league. And this game ended up being 18-31 in favor of the Giants, as Hakeem Nicks and Eli Manning hook up for 3 touchdowns. That is a lot of touchdowns between quarterback and wide receiver in one game. And I don't know if y'all know, but Hakeem Nicks was pretty much a monster for North Carolina when he played college, like 2 years back. He was huge. He was almost unstoppable. And going to move on here. We got the Atlanta Falcons pitted up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. And this game was the best game of the day. It was tied 9-9 at the end of the 4th. They went into OT. And I'm not sure if Atlanta got the first run at it, and they didn't get anywhere. So they kick it off to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh ends up getting to the 50-yard line, handing off to Mendenhall, Rashard Mendenhall, and he runs for a 50-yard touchdown in overtime for the victory over the Falcons, and the Pittsburgh pulls it out 15-9. Great game. It was fantastic. On to another battle of the uglies. We have Cleveland. The Cleveland Browns against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and this was another close game where Tampa Bay pulled it out 17-14. And when Freeman came to town, not a very great game, but pretty solid. 17 of 28 for 882 yards and 2 touchdowns. That's good for a young QB for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Next game we got on the docket here is the Denver Broncos against the Jacksonville Jaguars. And Jacksonville, I pitted them to be a really good team this season, and they didn't let me down with Jacksonville taking it 24-17. And Gerard having a decently solid day, 16 of 21, 170 yards and 3 touchdowns. That's David Gerard for the Jacksonville Jaguars, pulling out the victory there. And the highlighted game of the day, because it is my team, and I also have a player in this game on my fantasy team, is the Indianapolis Colts against the Houston Texans. Now, when this game started, it was supposedly going to be an even matchup, but when the second half hit, Arian Foster for the Houston Texans ran all over the Colts. And I don't know if you all know, but it's been said that in the past the Colts have had, bad defenses against the run. And when a guy puts up almost 190 yards in the second half, almost 200 to be exact, they're going to win the football game. And with Foster having 33 carries for a massive 231 yards and 3 touchdowns, which helps out my fantasy football team because he's one of my starting running backs. Although I hated rooting for him since the Colts are my team, but Houston pulled out the victory 34-24 with Manning trying to bring back a rally, but he couldn't get it done. Could not get it done. And that's pretty much for the NFL. I'm watching a few games now, and it looks like Philadelphia is just not a good matchup for the Packers. And the Packers are winning right now 27-17. We got about 9 minutes left in this fourth quarter, and Kevin Kolb, who is the quarterback for the Philadelphia Eagles, actually got injured today. He went out of the game with a concussion, and Michael Vick, dog killer, fighter / whatever you want to call him, has actually looked very good today. Yeah, he's had at least 2 runs of what I've seen that's been 20, 30 plus yards. I mean, and he looks good. He looks like he should be the starting quarterback for the Eagles instead of Kevin. Because a lot of people this year have had a lot of hopes in Kevin Kolb, but not me. I don't think he's that good. And that's pretty much it. That's all the NFL talk I'm gonna have for you today. But as you can see in this episode here, I'm kind of trying to make my way to this castle here, and this part right here is just a little maze, and you just want to follow how I go through it. And at the end of this part, you'll run into a monkey, and he will ask you for rupees to follow you. And what you want to do is pay him those rupees, because if you don't, you will not be able to get in the next castle, because he actually opens the door for you, which he charges another few coins for it. But rupees are rupees. It's easy to find, and in a couple episodes I'll show you my secret for rupees. And this is going to be your friendly neighborhood Chippy, and he's going to be out, and he will meet you for the episode 14. And that's pretty much all I got for you today. He's going to open the door here, and I'm going to walk in, and I am going to say peace out, y'all, and I'll meet you for the next episode. Take her easy.